to Forever and Blum. It's an exploration of Jeff Goldblum. It's also an investigation. It's also a celebration of his cinematic career.
This is way past Seb's bedtime, so you may be getting a lot of delirium in this episode.
I'm next door today.
It's not even 10 o'clock, and Seb's this fucked. It should let you know the kind of person that we have to deal with.
It happens. It happens sometimes.
As a co-host.
But as Liam did say, I am Seb, and as I just said, that is Liam. And also there's Beth.
Yep.
Awesome. That's how we intro the show every episode, and no one can say any different.
Extremely smooth and seamless.
Well, yeah, we should confess that we have, unfortunately, to our great chagrin, skipped a film.
Yes.
We'll pause for the screams across the land.
Yeah, I feel like it feels weird.
So, because basically we can't find it anywhere, legally or illegally, right now. And YouTube wouldn't even let us rent it with having a UK bank account, which is frankly
discrimination.
Transatlanticist.
Maybe it's some time to call in a favour from our overseas listenership and get them to send us a DVD.
Oh yeah, all 9 of them. If you're listening,
we don't need 9 DVDs, Liam. Just one.
That's
of them.
true. We only.
No. Maybe we do. There's 3 of us. That's 3 each. That's just good math. If you could send it to us, that'd be great. We may just have to order one, but we will do the film. We're not skirting our responsibilities that we have set ourselves. That we will do that movie, which was Beyond Therapy. I'll be honest, I'm not that gutted that I have to miss that.
No.
I'm not watching Robert Altman. Which one is
Robert Altman. And I had loads of good Altman stuff ready to talk about because I watched another one of his films recently.
Which film?
So I'm.
It's the one that has every British actor in it. That Downton Abbey is based on.
Harry Potter.
No. I've completely forgotten what it's called.
Ocean's 8.
Yeah, it's Robert Altman's
Shrek.
Ocean's 8, which was the inspiration for Downton Abbey. We'll talk about this another time, but I have also thought that I think I could fix all of the drama in Downton Abbey by giving all of them Game Boys. But let's move on.
So, I don't know if we should.
No,
I don't know if we should move on from that.
It's all about intrigue of like, oh, well, did you hear that Madam she's dallied with another servant, and then the other servants are like, well, actually, I think I'm going to go and get rather zesty in the laundry room. And like,
I'm really sorry, Beth. I'm really sorry that I actually took time
but
away
if you
from
just
this
gave him a
podcast
Game Boy with like Pokemon Silver on it.
Now is the only time that you mention Game Boy.
Well,
what was all of that before?
It was to set the scene. Like that's the drama that happens.
I'm gonna poo-poo this. I'm so done with this right now. We will watch Beyond Therapy, but right now we are watching Vibes, or have watched Vibes.
Yeah, I actually have
a
watched
1988 movie with Jeff and Cindy Lauper.
Don't forget Steve Buscemi.
There is a very brief Buscemi. I will not forget about that.
Something about the phrase brief Buscemi puts me on edge.
Good. There is a film about 2 psychics that get recruited to go find the lost Incan city.
Of gold.
Of gold.
The gold is very key. So what do we think about it, eh?
Oh man,
Beth, you sounded like you were really hot on it in the group chat. Do you want to start?
Yeah, you go ahead.
I'm scared that I won't be able to talk about it without going into full spiel, because I genuinely was in such a state of trepidation throughout viewing this film. Yeah.
Give us the notes, the headlines.
It offended me so much. It genuinely, as someone who every day puts an effort in to try and get money to make film, it offended me because it failed on so many basic cinematic storytelling notes, and I was so upset. It was like a group of toddlers watched Indiana Jones and then got given 18 million to make a film.
Oh, God. Is that
Based
how
on
much this
that.
film cost to
18
make?
million.
A waste.
It made 1.8 in the box office.
That's rough.
Big old
Yeah.
flop.
Yeah, big old flop.
Big old flop all round. You know, you don't just get a casual Steve Buscemi, a spattering of Buscemi cameo.
Sorry. A brief Buscemi. I must insist on a brief Buscemi.
You know, a little dousing of Buscemi in a film usually uplifts the tone, but in this film, the direction was so appalling it actually dragged it down. I've never ever found that before with a Steve Buscemi cameo.
I will say it actually made Jeff look like a worse actor
Yeah.
than he has been.
It took you out of the film just enough because you were reminded of how good Steve Buscemi usually is, and because the whole film was so poorly directed, it took you out of it for a moment and just reinforced how dire it was. Because usually when you watch him, you're entertained, and I just wasn't entertained for a single moment throughout this entire film.
There is one good joke in this movie. I'll give you that, though.
I think
There is
I've got
one good
3
joke.
good jokes in this.
3, I mean, you really
I think
stretch
I was
it.
Yeah,
so
okay, so-
blindsided by how appalling the majority of it was. I just wasn't perceptive enough to pick up any of the one-liners. But it hit me.
I mean, it's supposed to be a comedy, but there is only one joke I could catch in an hour and
was that?
41-minute runtime. And that was, where would you like to be shot? Response, South America. And I thought that was really
But they
good.
repeated that
you
format.
even got it wrong.
No, I didn't. I literally read it verbatim.
You said, "Where do you want to be shot?"
Where would you like to be shot?
Yeah. His response is not in South America.
No, he said South America.
In which case, the other half of the quote is, "Where don't you?" No, the guy says, "I'll give you a break."
Where would you like to be shot? He would like to be shot in South America.
That's funny still, but the joke's actually better than that. He said the guy. I think his name's Carl.
Yeah, it is.
Who's holding him hostage at that point? Says, "Look, I'll give you an easy one. Where don't you want to be shot?" And he says, "South America."
Oh.
That's funnier.
I don't know if it is.
It's just
think it
not.
is.
It's not. And I found that that layout of joke happened over and over
yeah.
again, and they just repeated that
Oh, that's the only time I noticed
format.
it.
No, not that specific, but in terms of the kind of call and response nature of it,
Yeah.
it happened too much, and I just thought this film was so unfunny. It didn't know what it was, which was the worst part. It didn't know what genre it was really fitting into. It was trying to be funny, had elements of romance, had elements of kind of 80s like futurism and trying to be like fantasy, but it just didn't commit to anything strongly enough for it to be successful. M.I.O.
I mean, it is, in all intents purposes, a bad movie, but I had a good time watching it.
Did you?
Yeah. Like, it wasn't good. I can sit here right now and say that it was not a good movie. But I didn't have a bad time. I've had much worse times in our 14
I think,
previous episodes.
honestly, I think in my 25 years of avid cinema watching, I don't think I've seen a worse film.
Wow.
Oh, we have already.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
I don't think I have. I think this was it. This was the one for me. This was the worst film I've ever seen.
Wow.
But Beth,
That's something.
didn't you like the bit right at the beginning, near the beginning of the film, where, I mean, you've complained about the directing, but I think, some great directing when Jeff is leaving in the taxi to go home, and Dr. Harrington Steele is putting his hands on top of Jeff's hands, and then Jeff puts his hands on top of his hands, and they keep doing it until the shot finishes.
So yeah, I guess that's like something that I feel like that sequence is what they teach in A-level drama when they're trying to give you the basic understanding of like visual subtext. They're like, oh, what we're saying can be conveyed visually, and that was like the most basic way they could have done it.
Yeah, nice. But also, do you not like that his name is Harrison Steele?
It's a fucking good
Good
name,
name.
man.
What's his name?
Harrison Steele.
Dr. Harrison Steele.
Is the British like low budget David Bowie that they've got.
I wonder if that was at all linked to Pierce Brosnan's movies he did after Bond, which was Remington Steele.
Oh yeah, maybe. The Remington Steele films are surprisingly not as bad as you'd think.
Shut your whole mouth.
No, I've seen bits of them and they're not that bad, actually.
So Jeff plays someone called Nick Deasy. Cindy Lauper plays Sylvia Pickle.
Pickell.
Also, Pickle. And they get recruited by a guy called Harry. He pays them 50,000 beans in fake bean to go and find the lost ink and gold city. His name is also Harry Buscafusco, which is fucking great.
Well, you should point out he initially hired them under the guise of finding his lost son.
Oh.
And then there was no son, and he's just... There two men at the beginning of this film. One of them died, one of them got turned into dust.
One of them was our old friend Michael Lerner playing Bert.
Yeah.
And then you had Bert and Eli basically right at the start. You see them in the Lost City and they find this weird golden pyramid and it fucks them both up. And that's what I think they were. This guy Harry Fuscabusco's associates, and he's hired the two psychics to like take him.
But why did he lie about it being his son and then lie about it being his dad? Like, why didn't he just say from the off-go?
Because he thought it was loads of treasure and gold there, and he just wanted to let them. He wanted them to tell him where it was, so he could go there and get all the gold himself.
Why didn't he just say my friend? Why did he lie?
That's true.
He knew they were psychic. He knew that they knew they could feel an object and they could gather, like they could fathom information about whoever had touched the object previously. So why did he bother making up a story?
Because he's an absolute idiot.
Yeah, Beth. Yeah.
But everyone is. Everyone is in this film, and it's so frustrating. No one acts rationally. No one has any common sense, and that's really infuriating to watch in a film.
Could I just bring out, like, the one line I just read in my notes that I liked that happens really early in the film so we can get past it? Is that Cindy Lauper's character has a ghost sister, I think?
It's just a friend.
Okay,
just a spirit guide.
Yeah, spirit guide, ghost friend. Who is like giving her psychic powers, and she tells Jeff that Jeff's girlfriend is off having bouncy with someone else.
Yeah.
And then Jeff gets upset and says, "Absolutely not! I'm the tree on which hangs the fruit of her life. She calls me Honey Muffin."
I did not clock
And his
that.
delivery of that line just made me think of "Drink deep from the nectar" in The Fly.
Yeah, he does have a bit of Fly energy in this. To be fair. With like the very sporadic shouting that he has.
Well, actually, that's really good foreshadowing. Thank you for that. That's good. We're going to talk about that more later.
Okay. Are you also going to talk about the fact that when he's in the forest holding that like ink and stone, he looks like a coked up Ian Malcolm?
He really does.
I felt like he looked bored throughout this entire film.
I mean, Cindy Lauper said in her memoir that those two did not get on.
And you
at
can
all.
tell there's no
Really?
chemistry. There's absolutely zero chemistry.
I don't think that surprised me.
What surprised you?
I thought they got on fine.
You thought they got on
mean-
fine.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's great.
I don't know where that got me. I thought they got on fine. You weren't there, Liam. You weren't there.
It seemed fine. It seemed fine. The range of like hairstyles that Cindy Lauper goes through in this film is actually wild.
And
She
outfits.
goes like full Cruella de Vil right at the end. And I thought this was maybe like a weird choice that they had made for her being a psychic and trying to show that. But then I looked at photos of Cindy Lauper in the 80s, and this is just a toned down version of who she is as a person.
That is literally what she says in an interview. She says, I had to just tone myself down for this role. And she says something along the lines of, acting is different from singing. It has to be more toned down. There's a stillness that you have to pursue when you're in front of the camera. And I don't think she was still for a single moment in this film. I honestly,
Not at all.
she was constantly moving, constantly corpsing, and her face was jittering, and she was overreacting, and she wasn't reacting. She was just acting all the time, and I was so aware that she was acting, you know. And I felt like when you have a,
I felt that with Jeff as well. To be honest,
and
I think that's just how
I think
like
he was
awful the
bouncing
dialogue
off
was,
her
man.
energy, and I'm not blaming her for his performance, but I think there absolutely there's a synergy that is created when you have a duo in a film. And they naturally absorb and, you know, bounce off one another. And we know Jeff's a good actor. I don't think Cindy Lauper's a good actor, but I think his performance was bad in this film. And I think she probably contributed to that because of the dynamic. And the director should have recognised that and done something about it. And
Well, interestingly, Dan Aykroyd was originally cast as Nick Deasy and left the role when he realised that the studio was insisting on hiring Cindy Lauper.
yeah, why were they so insistent?
What was this? 88. I think Girls Just Want to Have Fun came out in like 85, so she's probably still in like the peak of her career. It's kind of the same how we had who was it, Diana Ross in that Thank God It's
it was
Friday.
Donna Summer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Donna Summer, sorry, yeah. It's these films just like to capitalize on people of the day, you know. It's like how John Cena and Dave Bautista are in movies now. Granted, Dave Bautista's not a bad
Bautista's
actor.
fantastic, and I saw the new Dune trailer, and I'm very appropriately jacked about it.
Harry, the guy that recruited them, I have never seen someone worse at wearing a hat than that man.
That's such a
He's wearing
specific
this-
par.
He's just really bad at hats. So that he doesn't look good in them, but he's got like this like cotton trilby or something, and it's like sat nearly on his cheek. It's fucked.
That first shot where it cuts to him waiting at the airport for them, I had this weird moment where I was like, I could just turn this off.
I had that thought
I had that
countless
feeling.
times throughout.
I did skim a couple of scenes, I'll be honest.
I gave it my rapt attention for an hour
I
and
don't
39
like
minutes, and I regret
what I
it.
don't like when I watch a film and I come away from it, I don't like it. What I like about film is when you watch it and you come away and you have loads of questions of a philosophical nature, and you start applying questions that are aroused from the physics and the chemistry of the world you've been watching to your own life. What I hate is when you watch a film and you just come away from it fucking baffled, and you're like, what have I just watched? What's going on? I don't understand. Who are these characters? What do they want? What have they been doing? And that's how I felt when I watched this film.
Well,
I was just
on
so
the flip side,
confused. I was
I think
confused
I
by
came
all their
away with
intentions.
this. I really think I came away with this some really deep philosophical questions like, why do I try? Why do other people try?
What the fuck was the 80s funding? What was going on with these fucking commissioners? Were they on
cannot
crack
wait till we get out of
cocaine?
the 80s.
Were they just flipping through these scripts going, yes, yes, no, 2 no's, 1 yes? I don't think they read the scripts.
Literally everyone was on coke in the 80s.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Including the baseball chimp at the beginning of this film, probably.
Do you reckon that's the
Baseball
same chimp
chimp?
from the last 7 films that have had a chimp in? Do you think it's the same one?
There was in the 80s. There was only one chimp in Hollywood. And
Don't
that-
surprise
I'm
me.
sorry, could someone please explain the phrase baseball
There was a chimp. Liam, did
Probably
you not
one of
watch
your
this
skimmed
film?
seams.
Yeah.
There was a baseball chimp right at the very start, like the first 50 seconds.
Yeah, within the first minute for sure.
Yeah, I should have just said a minute. Yeah.
Can I have some context? Where is the baseball chimp? Why do the baseball chimp?
It's showing the transition of that weird Inca land with New York, contemporary New York.
Yeah, so it cuts from a man being vaporized to a chimp swinging a baseball bat outside of the
'Cause it's
psychic
New York.
study.
Chimps with
I'm
baseball
walking
bats.
here. This chimp's
in
doing
New
a
York.
baseball.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Fucked.
Yeah, it's
Makes
bad.
no sense. We do see some more sheepskin trousers.
True.
I will always point these out when I see them. A pan flautist is playing them. He's not playing his trousers. He's playing the pan flute. He's wearing the trousers. Sat outside the bus stop when they get to the village that is beside the Incan. We get to the point where they go to Ecuador.
Yeah.
At what point in the movie? 40, 50 minutes in?
Less than that, I think. More like half an hour, maybe.
I'd say half an hour to
Yeah.
40 minutes, and then they're
It
there.
felt a
But the
lot
pacing
longer.
is completely off. Like, there are no
Yeah, it felt like
acts.
half the movie was in the jungle and half the movie was in that weird lab with the fake Swedish dude.
Yeah. You genuinely cannot
that guy is
define between the start, the middle, and the end. Like, there is no 3-act structure. you can't decipher like any kind of
You
narrative.
can.
I couldn't.
Yeah, this film's not good.
Yeah. So they go to the Incan place. Jeff. Sorry.
Jeff does accidentally kill a woman who then disappears.
Oh yeah, some people try and kill him because there's a group of other people that are trying to find the gold in this city. She tries to stab him. He just sidesteps her and she falls out of a window. Then they travel there. They spend the night in these tents. There's what Harry describes as a near miss between those two nearly having sex. And a horrible phrase is used by Cindy Lauper, which is, you were a minute ago, you were about to disappear down my throat.
Yeah, I did.
And that
pick
is
up on
horrible.
What did she mean by that? Can I get the
'cause they
male
were kissing and
perspective
then-
on this? Is she talking about penis or tongue?
Tongue.
Okay.
Because
That's
they
alright.
were kissing and then he got really self-conscious and thought that she was doing this as like a pity fuck. So, and she was like confused by the tonal whiplash of the evening, I guess, and was like, what's happening? A minute ago, you were about to disappear down my throat. And I just got a very visceral image of like a 6'4" Jeff climbing into a very small Cindy Lauper from the mouth.
That made
not
me
nice.
that made me clench my teeth in a way I didn't appreciate. That image. I'm trying to think of other good things that we can talk about with this, but essentially, they find
It's not loads, huh?
they find this. They find the. There are so many unfired Chekhov's guns in this film,
Yeah. Lousy with them.
but there's one. There's one that does come up, which is Cindy Lauper's ghost friend, Louise. Can it talks to other dead people? I think.
Yes. Well, she's the connection to she's the spirit guide.
That's
she's her
right.
connection
That's
to
right.
the spirit realm.
She's kind of a medium or something.
And thus can somehow predict future events just from
Yeah.
knowing dead people.
That's psychic shit, though, isn't it?
Yeah, Beth, we don't know.
That's the rules of psychics. A psychic never tells, or they'll get kicked out of the magic circle.
But yeah, she uses
I don't think that's true.
her power twice to put people in contact with their dead parents.
Yeah, just to book them out so they can get what they
Yeah.
want.
And also,
It-
what's up with that bad Swedish accent that was happening?
It's so bad, yeah. So the character's called Ingo Swedlin,
Great name.
or probably Swedlin because he's a Swedish character. And I don't know if that name is better or worse than the actor's name, which is Googie Gress.
Do you know that his name is Googie Gress because his dad named him the first sound that he made as a baby?
Is that true?
Yeah, that's a true thing.
Shut your whole mouth. That's not
Yeah,
true.
I read an interview. Apparently,
No
he
way.
kept saying like he kept saying like "goo goo" or "gee" like babies do.
As an infant, his father called him his goo goo baby. Oh,
That's Chucky Bicky.
and
That's
yeah,
very
very
Chucky
much.
Bicky.
And this became Googie. So he went to the Screen Actors Guild. He stepped inside SAG and was like, "Sign me up as Googie Gress, please." Fuck.
Yeah,
I
why?
want a compilation of all the horrific 80s names that Liam said. You always come out with them. They always just fall out. You always I never remember a fucking thing, and you always
I'll be honest,
remember
there
all
was a
these-
flash of fear in my heart there where I thought you were going to say that you wanted a compilation of all the bad accents that Googie Gress does in this movie, and I just
Oh,
don't have
no.
that in me.
No one needs that.
Liam, can I request
No
that?
one needs. Can you
No.
imagine if there
Okay.
was a bonus DVD extra to this film? Can you imagine
There
how
is.
horrific it would? Oh God.
There definitely will be. Is this
I don't
DVD
think
era?
there
No,
is.
this is VHS era, so it'll
Yeah.
probably be.
I don't think
You
they
did-
had extras on VHS.
You didn't have a menu, did you?
No.
You just
Play
put it
straight
in,
through.
you press play, and it rolls.
The,
Do you know
the
it's
good
insane
old-fashioned
how
way.
it's absolutely insane how many people had to go to hospital because they stuck their penis inside a VCR.
Is that Sorry?
Yeah, it was like a thing.
What, one of the holes?
The big slot.
What?
Like
I
the
also,
machine.
Beth, I want you to know, I also assumed the holes of the tape.
You're
No.
talking about the thin rectangular
Yeah.
orifice that's on a VHS player.
Yeah.
Ah.
VHS player sex accidents.
Oh, God.
It'd be like, I can imagine the type of person it would be like, you know those dads in rough trade who are going, oh, this band isn't as good as the old bands. It'd be those guys who were like, yeah, analog.
Yeah,
And they
That's
want
a
to
very,
fuck
very
analog.
specific kind of character you've pulled out that makes lots of sense to people like us who have
You
lived
get it,
in
right?
places
It's
like
the kind
Bristol.
of guy. Who
yeah.
else?
Yeah, that kind of guy. I do know who you mean.
They're like, oh, what is this Tame Impala? This isn't psychedelia. Those kind of
I'd
dads.
much rather a wild Impala. And then they do it.
Fuck, man. I know it's late.
You know,
but
I was doing like proper like highbrow humour, and you just completely.
No, that's
I
what
wouldn't go
they
that
that's what
far.
they would say. Because
No,
they're
that was a
highbrow.
joke. That was also a joke.
So I
if
did
it-
Google VHS player sex accidents.
yeah,
and,
cool, good.
The first result is a book on Amazon called Sexual Satisfaction: Advanced Techniques. So what the fuck is Bezos up to, man?
Jesus. Do they let you just publish books on like literally anything?
Yeah.
You just publish any book. There's like no monitoring.
I mean, we're doing this podcast and no one's told us not to, and we're three chuckle fucks chatting about bad movies. So
Yeah, but we've not caused any like libel suits, or we've
Yeah.
not slandered anyone.
Not yet.
Beth.
Not yet.
I mean, there's been a fair amount of slander just in the
that
first.
was in the old days.
40
That was we were amateurs. No one needs to know.
We
about
are
that.
very much still amateurs. So True Bloom,
Yeah,
I gave it 4 out of 10.
I think that's reasonable.
There was just a lot of sporadicness, a lot of jitteriness. There was even like the first, you know how now Jeff like communicates more in noises than he does like physical words.
Yeah,
There was
he,
a bit
he
more of
expresses
that in
himself
this.
mentally, I think, a lot.
Yeah, there was a bit more of that in this when he would just like ask a question and then get halfway through asking a sentence and be like, you know, it's kind of like, and big Jeff energy.
Yeah.
BJE.
I didn't really get that. That didn't come across to me when I was watching it, and I gave it a 2.
I feel like this film put you into a real big hole, man.
It did. It did. It made me depressed, honestly.
Because contextually, this definitely is not the worst film we've watched.
It is the worst. This is the worst film I've ever watched.
Harken back to Nashville.
I preferred. I like Nashville. I would watch
Alright.
Nashville over this.
Beth, you are sick.
I gave it 4. What'd you give it, Seb?
Yeah, I was on board. I was a 4.
For
Okay.
what?
True Bloom.
True Bloom.
Craft, I gave 2.
I think that's very reasonable.
Because as soon as they get to the Incan City, it looks like they're on the fucking set of Jungle Run.
Oh yeah, I was thinking that it looked like an old school like Gladiators sort of.
It looks so much like
assault
Jungle Run,
course.
especially when the whole thing starts falling down. I'm just waiting
Yeah.
for like ruby monkeys to start popping out.
No, I've not thought about Ruby Monkeys in a long time. Beth, what'd you give it?
Boff.
I gave it 0.5.
Wow.
Jesus. That's the lowest score anyone's given. We've never gone sub 1.
That's true. We haven't.
Yeah, it deserves it.
And enjoyability, I put 5.
I put 4. I was not hugely jazzed about it, but I had an okay time.
Beth, I know you're going to poo-poo this, so what's your...
Okay, I have a little question before I answer. Mm-hmm. Can we use minus figures?
No.
Then it's a 0.
Because a minus figure would mean what would that even mean?
Means you're taking points away.
So we've watched 21 films in our time,
Damn.
and this is number 17.
Okay, what's below it?
Below
below?
it is Remember My Name, Special Delivery, Death Wish, and Say Knives.
Damn.
Death Wish is below this.
Yeah.
I liked Death Wish.
Yeah, me too. But
Yeah. Well, see,
the list doesn't lie.
yeah, this is pure maths.
I want to point out that I was looking through all like the trivia and shit, and there wasn't even loads of trivia on this. Then I scrolled to the bottom, and there was this one guy who was like Sylvia shotgun and the infamous Brute manufactured in Brazil as a full-size double-barrel hunting gun. Like, okay, man, we get it. You like guns, and it goes on for so long.
Jesus.
Just keeps talking about like the brand of gun and how the barrels are just over the minimum legal length because you cut off the buttstock behind the pistol grip. It's like, fuck, man, you saw that gun for like 10 seconds. We get it.
People need hobbies that aren't guns.
Yeah.
Is that controversial to say? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Something we can breeze past. He's in it for 53 minutes.
Oh, fair enough.
He's on screen more than he's not.
Fair enough. That makes sense. He's like the main dude. Give us the Blum verse, mate.
So, can you two come on a little bit of a journey with me? I've been doing some thinking.
Okay. Yep.
And I've been sort of thinking about like two different theories of Jeff Foreverism.
I just want to come in now and say I'm really glad you've put some effort into this week because last time you phoned that shit in so hard. So good job. Carry on.
I'm doing this just for you, buddy. Okay. There's two theories. One makes more sense, and the other is much more buck wild. And I don't think it makes enough sense. But science is impermanent; it can change. So the first of these two, the simpler, is that each of these different incarnations of Jeff that we see, they exist in his visits to different timelines, which would explain how sometimes he has powers and things, and sometimes he doesn't.
The multiverse theory.
Multiverse theory, or specifically, yeah, exactly. But when he dies, it's game over. He goes back to whatever his true timeline is. Right. And he's like, right, I need to get back in. Because,
Wait, so does he actually die? I thought he didn't die. I thought we said before that he pretends to die.
Look, Beth, science is not a constant. We're learning as we go. So I do like the idea that whenever he has to die, he has to pretend to die. That's funny. That's a good ha-ha theory. But we're talking about some serious stuff today. So I think that when he dies, for example, when he died as Brundlefly, when he got evaporated by a gun,
That's the saddest death, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Out of all the deaths, the Brundlefly death.
And he
I didn't
was
like watching him get choked out, but that's fine.
It moved me more than that.
Yeah. But after that, he got shot back to his true timeline where he really exists. And then he's working on a way to get back to another timeline. Now, us being able to see that implies the fact that the timeline that we're living in is his true timeline. Because we see him as Jeff Goldblum, the actor, and we are able to see all of his forays into other places. So what I'm putting forward is that we exist in Jeff's true timeline, and something dangerous is going to happen. And he's going into these other timelines to find a cure for whatever happens. That's my theory. My second theory is that Jeff doesn't have a physical body. And whenever he goes from world to world, he manifests himself in a new way, and it's just that he likes looking like Jeff Goldblum. But whenever he can move from one world to the other, he's able to take a little bit of his last self with him. And I think that the psychic powers he's got here come from his experience as the Brundlefly.
There is something that could actually, in this movie, that could also support that theory, Seb.
Oh, yeah.
Which is that he travels with dehydrated food because he says that you never know and you always want to be sure and be careful. And I got some like time traveler energy from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, he doesn't know where he's going to end up. He doesn't know whether there's going to be like Barney Rubble trying to steal his food, or if like I don't think Barney Rubble stole people's food.
That was such a deep Flintstones reference. Where did that come from? No, I feel like we peeked behind the curtain a little bit there. We saw into Jeff's unders that we saw that he takes food with him, dehydrated fajitas or enchiladas, because you never know what the food's going to be like in Brundlefly world.
Yeah, so I think I'm doing some experiments and some research about exactly how Jeff exists. I'll report back soon.
Nice.
What if the next time we had this call, I was like in a field somewhere watching Jeff Goldblum film something from afar, and I was there in a ghillie suit in the bush. Like, look, you can see him. It looks like he's swinging a blade.
Seb, you will go to prison so quick, mate.
Nah,
You're like the least graceful person I know.
that's not true anymore.
That's so true.
I could do it. It's journalism. It's not illegal to be a paparazzi.
Should be taglines. 3 taglines, 2 are written by me, 1's the actual one. People should know this by now. Probably not. Put your hands on our hands and feel the vibes. That's number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, maybe the lost city was lost for a reason.
Deep.
And number 3, we vibing.
Number 3. Definitely number 3.
Nah, it's number 2. It's the lost city thing.
This fucking Lost City was not even like I just didn't even care. They could have just not had that in there. Do you know what I mean?
It's like the same plot as National Treasure 2.
But they're going on a journey. They're going on a journey, and really, what they're doing is they're falling in love, and that's it. That's like the plot. That's the plot.
Isn't that the real journey?
I listened to Girls Just Want to Have Fun after this. I was like, okay, Cindy, if you're going to redeem yourself, I'm going to play your number 1 hit of the 80s, and it's going to make me like you again. And I played it, and it didn't. And I think she's ruined for me now.
Oh no.
Were you a big Cindy stan before?
I like that one song.
Anyway, Liam, it's number 2. It's the one about the it's not the first or the third. It's the second.
You're both wrong again.
Jesus
For
Christ.
fuck's sake.
I mean, Beth, you for the last 2 times have now gone for the one that I've written of like I've completely given up. I'm intentionally writing something that I just like, well, you're clearly going to know this is wrong. And you have been like, oh, it's definitely that. It's definitely that both times.
Doesn't that say something about the caliber of films we've been watching? Wait, so what was the actual tagline for this film? Remind me.
Put your hands on our hands and feel the vibes.
What does that even mean? What does that even mean?
There were lots of hands on other hands in this film.
Is it
And
because of that primary school?
No, because Jeff
Potato game.
touches things, doesn't he? And there's a whole thing about psychics. They read your palms.
So do you know this film has been hard, and do you know what isn't? Earth Girls, which is the next film we're watching, is Earth Girls Are
Jesus,
Easy.
man. If you want to contact us, we're at foreverinblum on Instagram or foreverinblum@gmail.com. If you want to send us any Bloomiverse theories or tell us what we're doing wrong, which I'm sure people will.
I've never made a mistake in my life.
I don't want to go into that. If you could share the show, that helps a lot. Rate it on iTunes or Spotify if you can do that. I don't know. Just tell people about it. Help us out. That's it, I guess.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you. It's
Bye.
really good to have you here. Thanks for coming.
Sweet.